And the QuadCast is back here. We're broadcasting from south of the border. I've got my man Gloop in the studio. That is how you pronounce it, right?
Yep,
I got
that's
it right.
how you do it.
Nailed it. But yeah, he's here, man. We're gonna be talking about Rip It Up Films, how he got started, what's going on in the sport today, all kinds of different stuff. So let's just get right into it, man. So how did way back before even you started Rip It Up Films or you started your job you do now? How did you even start with quads? Like, how did that even begin?
So how I started with quads is, I guess we'll have to go really way back. Is seen a quad at Walmart, and my dad rode dirt bikes his whole life, and he's like, that'd be cool. Let's go trail ride. So we saw the quad. We didn't buy the quad. We've had some old Honda Recons and Kawasaki Bayou, and just trail road. We went to Tower City. Roush Creek was a big establishment trail riding track at the time. We'd go there, and then from there we saw Hare Scrambles. District 6 it's a big series. They do motocross, hare scrambles, all types of things. There's Flying Dutchman, all these other places, and basically started racing on a 90 that we saw at Walmart.
Nice. So you was one of the Chinese 90s?
Yeah, so it was the Eton 90 was the thing in the day, which is exactly what these kids are with, Apex 90, the scooter motor.
Yeah.
And, we bought it, didn't do anything but waterproof the airbox, and I raced hare scrambles. We got hooked. We got TRX 90s for the hare scramble, and then we were like, we just bought this nice 90, what's this motocross thing all about? So we went to Sleepy Hollow MX, and we saw motocross, and it was a miniaturized, dumbed down version of their big track, which they have a big track, a small track. They only have one track now, and started racing. So raced 90s, bought a blaster that was built. We drove in the older years. There wasn't performance parts. It was really hard to get.
See, we're
stuff.
the same age, and that's funny that you said a blaster, because that was when I moved up from 90s. I got a blaster, but it wasn't the same parts. There was just the most basic parts on it,
Yeah. So, what? It's funny you said it's this 90. It's this is before Hetrick Racing and these bigger companies were building parts for performance parts. There was Melosi, which everyone that has a 90 nowadays knows that they're performance motor parts. So you had to buy stuff from Japan, China, wherever, and we started building this. The Automatic 90 for hare scrambles. Got the TRX 90. Got the blaster. I raced the blaster, District 6, Sleepy Hollow, Flying Dutchman, Dublin Gap, all these local bigger name series. Got a Legger 250R hybrid that runs a 250X air-cooled motor, which is the 300EX equivalent. So 300EX is the electric start. The 250X was the kicker. Raced District 6's full series. Met a lot of cool people. I have a District 6 championship in that class. That was
what class?
0 to 200 2-stroke, 0 to 304 stroke.
Nice.
And I have 2 years running, and then
nice.
Bigger names are coming up through the crowd, and I got a YZ 426 250R.
Oh yeah, those things.
Gibson hybrid. Went to Breezewood one day and overshot a jump and just snapped my thumb straight back. It snapped in half, where I had 4 3-inch pins in my hand.
Jeez.
And my dad was like, I don't know if we really want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're going to turn 18. It's time for you to start paying for everything. So, the rule was he paid for the quad, he paid for the parts, I paid for the gear, I paid for the gas, I paid for the oil, I paid for all the little stuff. Because, up till, I guess 17, you don't really have a job, you're a kid.
Yeah.
So that's what I paid for. Anyways, long story short, that's how I got into racing. I started doing photography. Really liked it, but when I was doing photography, everyone was doing photography. So you would come to a national track, and I'd go with the Austin Nick Moser race at the time.
Yeah.
I'd go with the Moser family to a track, and everyone had a camera, and everyone was selling photos. And I was like, this is great. I worked for a guy selling photos, but it was just diluted content. And I was like, no one's doing video. Why don't I do video? I pitched it to this guy. He completely blew me off, the guy I was working for at the time. It's like, that's dumb. No one likes video. Photos are the way. Photos are like the thing. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, this is like insider stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I don't think I want you on the team anymore because I want to do video.
Mm-hmm.
So I pitched something to like JB Racing, and JB was all about it, like parts testimonials. So he would send me this. I'd put it on the quad. We'd just talk about it, like free advertising for them, and just like kind of like building the sport up as like, you don't know what you're doing. Why don't you put this part on?
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
make
exactly,
it better.
yeah.
So the guy kicked me off, and we kind of split our ways like professionally, and then I just started filming, and I started the name Rip It Up Films, and it was like, you know, it was like, what are you gonna do? Oh, we're gonna rip it up. So it was like, oh, Rip It Up Films. So that's kind of where I started, and that's the long story short. I could go into many other details, but
yeah, I mean, I'm sure, dude. But I was trying to ask you a question about, or I'm trying to remember what because when you said something, now I'm trying to remember what you said about it, but now I'm just a moron and I can't remember. But so when you started it, once you had videos and you were going to talk to JB Racing and have them do like, you're basically, were you trying to do like install videos, kind of like review and install? Because I'm going to do some of those too.
I just wanted, like, the plan was to start like basic, like it was for me to, I mean, it sounds kind of crappy at the time. It was like for me to get a part at a discounted price or at a cheaper price, but for me to give them a product video in return. So, you know, you buy a Honda 450, you buy a Yamaha. What's the first modifications you want to do? And JB was where I started because that's who I knew. You know, he has everything: his stem, the swing arm. You know, you want to take the stock at the time. You know, the old Yamaha junk, swing arms junk. They snap in half. So let's put
those bolts on the side.
So let's put a JB swing arm on it. So my idea was like, let's show you how to install it, what you need to do it, what it costs, all that stuff. And that was like, that's how I pitched it.
Yeah.
And JB was like, let's do it. And the guy I was working with was like, I don't know if like, you know, I don't know if we should do that. And I was all for it. He wasn't. And then all of a sudden he just didn't like the ideas I was coming up with and said, you know, we'll split our ways. I'll keep it the most easy way to
yeah.
To
well, I mean, you can't.
Years later, he sees me. He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you made it." I'm like, whatever, dude.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah. Okay, have fun with whatever you're doing.
So, do you still ride at all?
I do not ride. I still own a full built Honda 450R, and I have a 250R that's built.
Nice.
Full built Lone Star PEP. It was original Baldwin motor, and Tim Detling from TDR rebuilt the motor for me.
Nice.
Freshened up. I bought it from Big Jeff, Jeff Rastrelli, so
nice.
Jeffrey's dad. He bought it more of like just a play around bike, and like he did a memorial ride with it, so he put like memorial plates on it.
Oh, nice.
Or graphics. Man.
So when was the last time you threw a leg over it?
Up the street the other day.
Oh, yeah.
No, but the last time I rode, I was living in Morgantown, West Virginia, working full time at MX Sports, and there was a local track. I can't remember the name now, but I rode with my buddy that used to kind of help. I don't know what his job title was. Justin Perkins. He would park you. He ran all the insider stuff that no one's seen, like sponsorship and all this other stuff. So Justin Perkins worked the GNCC series, the ATV Motocross series, but he was a quad rider, and which was cool about that. It's like I had that was my dude, you know. Like, I had a quad rider. So we went and rode one time, and like I'd land a jump and it would cut out. And my pants are like too big and they're falling off my butt, and I was like, man, I don't even. How am I gonna wash this? I don't have a pressure washer. And I was like, too much work. Everything's going in the garage. Like, I'm done with this. You know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I can see it, dude. Like, I just run the regional series, and I'm like, this is so much work all the time. But, so all right, we'll skip. That's enough of, I guess your thing.
Yeah.
We'll skip on to.
Obviously, now anyone can talk about themselves.
Forever. All right, so let's get into the juice, man. Let's get into like today. So, what are your thoughts on today? The pro motos today. So.
Pro motos today. Moto 1 was cool.
Yeah, it really was,
really
man.
Cool. Like Moto 2, it wasn't as much excitement, but I mean that's kind of how it is. There's the top 5 guys. You know, they 5 to 6, they get out in front fast, and it's hard for those other guys to really catch up because they're battling each other so early in the race that you know, unless they get out in front and they're with that lead group, it's hard, and they're all fast guys. But you know, so the first moto was Joel got out front, Jeffrey, Thomas, Chad.
Yep.
Chad passed Thomas. They had a little battle. Thomas passed him back. Yada yada yada. And then
but they were just a big lump, like for most of the moto. Like there were four dudes stuck together.
And
it was awesome.
It's like, I don't care who wins. I just want excitement. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because I have to go home and I have to spend hours, days making these TV shows, and I want excitement, and like I want a close championship, and like, you know, the unfortunate events at Iron Man. It's like, obviously it's real shitty for one of my good friends, Joel, but I just like, man, you know, it's like this. I gotta change the whole way I do stuff.
See, that's what I was just about to say. It's a lot easier because you have to go back and you have to make it exciting. Because not all races are exciting, you know. So you have to go make it exciting. So a day like today is easy on you when you go home because it's exciting. So you can just make it exciting. But the races where it's like guys just flowing 1, 2, 3 the whole time, you have to clip that to make it look exciting. I haven't really ever thought of that before. That's very true.
And like, obviously, you know, Joel got 6 points today. So a 3 and a 3 is, you know, is the points you gain on a first versus second.
Yeah.
So 29 points down. It's now 20 on my math. 23, right? So, and sorry, Chad. You know, you don't want to see anything bad happen, but you do want to kind of see that gap change drastically, like it did at Iron Man. You know, like you want to see maybe you just
a swing the other
Chad
way.
Chad is a freaking animal. Like, his nickname should be the Machine.
Like, no bad luck. No, nothing.
Yeah, like, and that's like, that's all in the prep. That's all in the training too. Like, you know, the guy knows what he's doing. Like, he didn't get where he was.
He's like a robot. And when he goes up there and rides, it looks like he's sitting in like an office chair. He's just like.
Yeah, it's effortless.
It's just it's just he will be going so his style is just this laid back. He doesn't look aggressive. Like today, something that I thought was incredible is. Joel, I think, showed. I think this is a good and bad thing, kind of just more just funny because Joel didn't look as aggressive, you know, like he just looked much more smooth, and he got top qualifier. But Thomas Brown was who I thought was going to get the P1. He was riding like just flying, and it was like he's going to get P1, and so I think that also showed like how Joel is maturing to where he's like learning how to go that fast in a smooth way.
Yeah,
I guess.
smooth is fast. It's simple, you know. And when you look effortless, you're going fast. Yeah. And then, it's insane. Like you said, like Thomas looked like I'm like Thomas has got to be the top.
So fun to watch.
Iron Man, like he just, you know, 1 lap roll jump, 2nd lap bomb jump. That's how Thomas is.
He was the only one busting along triple consistently all day.
It's so cool, and I've known Thomas for years, and it's like, I still don't like, you know, it's like that, just that little much, and if like Thomas is gonna like, something's gonna pick up, something's gonna click, and he's gonna be
just
like that top guy and that whatever it is at the day, Thomas, Chad, Janusa, you know, all the guys. He's gonna be up there battling just like back and forth, and it's not like in the QuadCast Nations, like. He freaking shreds. Like,
dude, if you watch in the last show, I talk about how his third moto performance when he tipped in that corner and he came back, you know, charged all the way through the pack. It was like he was just like I felt like he was just hanging off the back of the bike, like just. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
We're talking about the QuadCast Nations.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, everyone goes in there like you're not riding for like yourself, like you're riding for your country, like realistically. I mean, personally you're riding for yourself, but you don't want to get beat by this guy that's like, if they come here, like, see ya, you're riding in B class, like, and these guys are beating them. No offense, guys, but you know, we had deep sand there, and that's just, we don't have deep sand. Like, we have sand,
that's like,
but it doesn't get as deep because we don't have sidecars.
Yeah.
So the sidecar has a ginormous hill climb looking dirt bike tire, and the car tire, and it digs these ruts, these sand ruts deep. And the GNCC tire is this wide, and the tires the quad guys run are literally
they run like dirt bike size, like those thin tires,
tall, deep. I mean, way taller tires than we'd ever even think about running here because we just don't have that track. You know,
Yeah.
like, the closest thing we ever had is like a Wildwood beach race, but that's a local fun time.
Yeah,
race.
no one takes it seriously, but yeah, I'm excited for this next one. It's in Germany this year, right?
Yeah, Germany.
Yeah. Nice. Are you gonna be going again to do it again?
I should be, yes.
Awesome, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited. So
It's gonna be a hard pack track, which is gonna be good for us. Where we ride hard pack, you know.
Yeah, that good. That definitely instills the confidence.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the I guess the schedule in general this year, and then also just to top it off the round where we're the round before the dirt bikes on Ironman.
Schedule this year, it's a little harder on me this year just because I'm like, man, like I felt like I'm doing a lot more this year with the amateur stuff. Like I'm shooting for different people and doing little videos for them. So that's where like I go home and people always say like, what are you doing? Like you just make videos. I'm like, you don't understand. Like I got a TV show to make. I got a highlight show to make. I got stuff for Rip It Up Films to make. And then I have all these amateur videos. But back to what you're saying is the whole 1 week off, you know, every other week, it's just hard. It has to be hard on the racers. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I'm just working on the stuff. They're going home, they're blowing up motors, and they have to order parts, and they have to find someone to fix it, or their dad, or their mom, whoever's rebuilding motors, whoever's rebuilding this, and it's just, I wish.
So are you saying it should be spread out?
I wish it was more spread out. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But for working for MX Sports for 6 years, I know how they plan it is it has to be in between rounds that their workers will be able to go to the GNCC series or Loretta's or other things in between, so they can't, you know, it's spread thin. So I get it. I can't really complain about it, but it still is what it is. It does suck. It's sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's the hard thing about racing is there's sacrifices you got to make them if you.
And it's a lot, you know. Like I know Supercross every weekend, but like they have tons of money, they have tons of support, they have tons of people working, and these are guys that are like. Most people here are going home and they're running their business, or they're running their business from the track. You know, and that, like most fortunate families here that have larger amounts of money have their own business. So I can't even imagine the guy that's like he's got to go home and do the regular 9 to 5, or he's got to take off this day and that day, and then he's got to find time to, my son blew up his motor, blew this, we got to get ready, got to wash, all that stuff. So, and then. To your last round, the last round of the series is at the Pro Motocross. Yeah. Friday. I think it's gonna be awesome. Might not be so many people in there. They're just rolling in the track.
Friday, yeah.
Rider wise, the people that own the teams are gonna be there. So is it gonna change anything crazy? Maybe not, but at least it puts some eyes on it.
See, that's kind of exactly how I feel about it. Is I think as long as they display it in a positive light and they're not. It doesn't become like a Quad Wars type of event, which I don't think it will be. But if they're out there hitting those big triples and busting lap times comparable, I think at least there's gonna be at least a couple people there whose minds get changed. Yeah. There's no way that they're, you know what I mean? Like worst case scenario, a couple people's minds are gonna be changed. Best case scenario, some of these team owners are like, why aren't we helping these guys? Like, what is going on? Like that's best case scenario, but. Worst case scenario is we're at least going to change. One person's going to see it and be like, "That's pretty cool."
Realistically, I don't think there's a worst case scenario. Like,
I guess.
It is. It's just something. It's something new. It's something.
Everybody can break down, dude.
Everyone's.
Everybody just breaks down.
But it's good. It's, and I think this sport needs it needs ideas. It needs changes, and that's, it's the same thing all the time. Okay.
So since you talk about that, the sport needs ideas and needs changes. I like saying this, like the difference between bashing and criticism, and how they're different. So what do you think? Like basically, kind of the 5-year plan. Like if you were the wizard, like you're in charge of everything for the series. You're king for a day, wizard. 5-year plan. What's your 5-year plan?
5-year plan. I think we got to set aside comparisons. We're never gonna compare to dirt bikes.
Yeah.
We're never gonna compare to Supercross. It's its own thing. It's its own animal. We're never gonna compare to GNCC. And I think that the people need to take charge in helping out stuff. So other events, and I'm not gonna name any specific series. They have cool, fun things, interactive things in the pits afterwards, whatever. Yeah, it might not benefit the actual person coming in to watch the race, but it makes stuff cooler for the people that are spending every other weekend coming to the races. So, some ideas just off the top of my mind is like, okay, so GNCC has a dog show. It's cool. It's fun for the kids. It's fun for the family. You know, they give out awards and all this stuff.
That's cool.
But it's just something simple that costs almost nothing.
See, that's I really like that because that's how I feel too. And at SC Quad Races, I try to have I try to organize like a cornhole tournament on like Saturday night.
Yeah.
But they're only one night events, so it's hard to. Most people leave. Only a small group of us stay that Saturday night too. So it's not. But when we have 2-day events, I try to organize some sort of like cornhole event, something to like bring people out and do something. I agree with you.
The first thing someone's gonna say is that doesn't help people get through the gate. No, it doesn't. But it helps the people that come to the race
stay at the race,
spend the time, spend their money, just have some fun. Like I've been in this way. Like the kids that are riding now, like didn't even know what a quad was when I was in this. Like I've been in this for so long, and like I've seen the progression of like fun to like. I mean, I get it. Everyone takes it seriously. Everyone's going to bed early, all that stuff. But like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
But not everybody wants to, though. You know what I mean? Like you just said, like everybody's taking it more serious. Everybody's wanting to go to bed early, but we're trying to also like attract that like regional crowd that doesn't want this super serious race and wants the nationals to be this big, cool event they get to go to once or twice a year when it comes through. You know, because that's how the nationals have been for me. You know, I never got to chase all the nationals. I just came to the ones that were close. So it was a big deal to get to go to one. Yeah. So if there was stuff like that, it would just amplify the way I felt about it, I guess. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
You know, you spend the money, and it's a lot of money. Everyone knows it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you feel appreciated when you... I mean, I guess that's not the right terminology, but, like, you want to... Like, everyone lives on stories. Like, you're like, oh, we went to this race. You know, I didn't do very well, but they had this cornhole tournament, or they had a spaghetti dinner, and you know, like JB Racing does a lot of cool stuff like that. Like I could say at a dessert party, I missed it. I don't know why I missed it. I was really wanting some dessert, but you know, we went to the hotel and showered, and I missed it, and I feel bad for stuff like that. And it's good to see like people make effort to make it fun, and I just remember like the fun we had was completely different. Like no one had pit bikes, no one had pit quads. Like we didn't even ride bicycles. Like we just hung out in groups of friends, and like we went to. If you go look at old Rip It Up films, like just Rip It Up films bridge jump or Rip It Up, like we went swimming like groups of us in trucks, and you know we weren't even old enough to drive. You know, like someone's dad's taking us in groups. You know, in Tennessee, we all sit in the back because it's legal there, whatever state, and it's just like. The fun factor is just not there anymore, and then the fun factor that like I see kids having is like somewhat like driving through the pits reckless. Like that's not like okay. Why don't we just make an area where like
the kids can rip it up?
This is a training facility, right? Why can't someone take an hour or two on a dozer and make little singles and
have a pit bike track?
And you have to wear a helmet, goggles, gloves, and boots. Long pants, long shirt, or you can't go out there. Okay, people can't really, you can't pay someone to sit there and restrict it.
I would say just helmet.
But if you make a big deal about it, if you make a big deal, that's not what I meant. If you make the rules, like, and someone, like, okay, so we'll have Nick Janussi for the 90 King. Everyone's gonna get mad, 90 King. When he rides, he doesn't ride in a t-shirt. He doesn't, other than we had a pit bike track at Underground, and they're all having fun. But that was so cool. Like,
they were releasing pants.
Everyone had gloves. Everyone had helmets, and everyone had somewhat boots or long pants. Be smart about it, have fun, and all the parents want to cook dinner or whatever while the kids ride, and it was cool. And it's just simple, cheap, or zero cost stuff that these tracks.
Cheap fun.
And there's so many other things that I've thought of, but someone needs someone to manage it, or say, hey, I sit around all day. I'm a mom, or I'm a dad. I don't do much. Why don't I, after I'm done working, after I'm doing whatever, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Like, there's so many little things we could do for free, and just make it more fun, or make it more like interactive. That like the race wasn't that great, but we did this and we did that, and I hung out with my friends and we did that.
Well, I totally agree, but the solution is to set up infrastructure that allows for that and like makes it easy and accessible. Like ATV Motocross could put on their website, for the ATVmotocross.com could put up there, hey, we want to hold these events. We need volunteers to run them. Can you volunteer? Quick couple messages, we'll run it. Okay, people will say, all right, boom, and then you have that. That's how it needs to be done. Because no one's the sport. People can't be in this kind of stuff for the money, or anything. No one's going to become a billionaire out here, But like you said, we live on memories. So everybody could just. If you just volunteer to help run, like even something as simple as a cornhole tournament or a beer pong tournament or anything of that sort of.
It doesn't even have any beer.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to have beer. It could be a ping pong tournament. Anything like that. Yeah. Just something going on at the track after the race is over that like brings everyone together, and it has a much more communal.
And there's been a lot of cool things that have happened throughout the years, and I'm not trying to take away anything from stuff that like. Big people did in the sport, like the events that they've done with Minnesota at a pit bike race. That was cool. Like everyone was there. Like I'm surprised people didn't come in and steal stuff out of people's rigs because everyone was at the pit bike race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like little things that cost minimal amounts of money or nothing, and we could just make it that much better with.
Okay, so that's one thing. So what else in the 5-year plan? So what else? All right, so more events at the track, and what else?
5-year plan. Okay, so. I'm a big supporter of the stock class.
Me too. Yeah.
I think it's great, and I think it's really crappy seeing like, okay, I see the guys that like rolled up there today on stock quads, and they're just so excited, so happy to have fun. And I see these people that are like miserable, but they are choosing like, oh my son, daughter, or I personally, I'm of age to not mom and dad paying for stuff.
Yeah.
I need this shock. I need this. I need that. No, you don't. You don't need that to have fun. And it's a hobby. It's until you're, and everyone's going to hate me for this, until you're a pro or up the top level, it's a hobby. Yeah. Then it becomes a sport and a profession. Mm-hmm. If people probably take that wrong, but no one got into this to say, I'm going to make money. Mm-hmm. It's fun. And if people just look at it more as fun, it'd be so much better. Like, it's just, it always was fun. Like, the years I've done this, like, rolling to every race with the Moser family and all these names I can name for days. It was just always so much fun. Like, everybody knew everybody on that line. Like, every class. They were all buddies, It was just fun. And now it's not like that. It's serious. And it's, which I get. You spend a lot of money for your son to ride or your daughter to ride. You want them to do good. But, I mean, I'm looking at these guys scream at their 50s. Like, they're 50 rider. Like, calm down. Like, let that... Yeah. Like, they're all hold it wide open. Yeah, he knows. Your son or daughter. No, she knows. She knows. I'm Dad. I'm holding it wide open. And it's just dirt bikes too. They do the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's some elements of that I think are good, but you can too much of anything is bad. You know what I mean? So I think if you get too friendly, it's too. That's not good either. Yep. But if we get too much the other way, and sometimes that's kind of contrary to what I guess I experience, is it feels almost like too friendly to me. But on the lower level, it might be a little different.
Too friendly for what? What do you mean?
Like, I mean, that's something that I kind of think is sometimes it's people don't race each other as hard as they could. Sometimes you hear people saying like, "Oh, if Chad or Joel gets behind you, you guys are gonna let him over."
You're right.
You hear things like that.
You're
but
right on that.
But that doesn't mean they not taking anything away.
Dirt bikes are different though. So like dirt bikes,
they're also a lot of money.
You take each other out.
Yeah.
Quads, you go and bump someone, you can hurt them. So I get the sense of like a little bit too friendly.
Yeah.
Competition's good, friendly riding's good, but there's like sportsmanship as well. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, I'm talking about more like like dirt bike guys don't cross jump each other. They can kind of like clip each other. Like if you're doing like a slow 180 turn, sometimes you see guys like still even cost. Like I'm not saying hit each other. I guess this is also more for thinking as a fan. Like I want to see more aggressive hitting and racing. So, but also we don't need to be WWE. You can WWE type. You know what I mean? I can. You're always giving and taking, but sometimes I just think we like dirt bikes when they teach. When these guys are in there coming up, they get taught how to hey, if you just pass a guy this type in the race, you need to be careful because the clean out's coming. And I don't think that's something we factor in, kind of. You know what I mean? We don't factor in that desperation pass where you're both just not going to let off and you're just going to see what happens in the turn. Because turns are,
I get what you're saying. And too, it's like the tracks that are made nowadays, everyone goes out, oh, it's one line. Well, you guys all made it one line.
Mm-hmm.
You went out and practiced,
Very
and you
true.
freaking followed each other.
That's a good point.
And years ago, they would go out and hay bale it. So they'd put a hay bale here and a hay bale there, so it would make 2 lines in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Or even down a straightaway. They'd just line up a couple hay bales right out of the corner, so you knew to take the right and the left. And it would make 2 lines. And now, there's not much effort in that. And, we get a train track. And people, kids, riders, everybody just looks down. They don't look up.
Yeah.
They could go they could go wide, they could go inside, but everyone just follows that same rut the whole way around the track. So, yeah, sometimes it's pretty boring to watch.
Gloop throwing shade, dude.
It's true. Like,
shade,
if you don't see it, then you're not a racer and you're not into it. Like, whatever.
Okay. Good point. That is a good point. Yeah. You're just following behind. And so what do you think about a 250 Pro class?
250 Pro. Grown men 250.
Grown men 250.
No way.
16 and up 250.
No way.
If you wouldn't ride 250?
No.
I would rip one of those things.
No.
Dude. I would
You're
love to ride
asking.
one.
You're,
Dude, I just watched a kid win Open B on a 250.
But you're asking. It's not about that. You're asking them to build a quad that costs entirely too much money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's why. That's the stock class. So if you're gonna do another class, let's build the stock class up.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of the stock class.
Well, the only point of this was my thought about the 250 Pro class is
dirt bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guess
but
what?
we're not going to be dirt bikes. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But
we always compare, and it just has to be its own thing. And if people
that's a really good point.
If people just start thinking it's its own thing, everyone's I saw this on ESPN. Oh, this, all that. Well, guess what? They pay. ESPN doesn't go, oh, we're going to go film lawnmowers today.
Yeah.
Lawnmower racing. No, someone paid a lot of money to get that on ESPN. Yeah. Someone paid a lot of money to get that on CBS, whatever sports,
Mm-hmm.
So, I get a lot of comments, why isn't this, why this, because it's not free.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, they're not sending production crews to go out and film guys doing, I'm trying to think of something.
Underwater basket
silly to me. Oh,
yeah.
I heard that on one of your podcasts the other day. So, stuff takes money, but I don't know where I'm going with that. But
yeah, coverage is not free.
Yeah.
You just don't get it. It just doesn't ESPN is not like, dude, you hear about these lawnmowers?
Yeah,
exactly,
you
go film it. It's like,
you see boats do ovals and like, no, it's they're paying for it.
Yeah, so do you think we should look for outside sponsors this year? Is that like where we should head? Is that the direction that we should go in?
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. But
yes,
it's harder than you think. Again, it's everyone says like it's easy to say like, why doesn't Monster sponsor it? Why doesn't Red Bull sponsor it? Well, how are we gonna get them to see it? How are we gonna get them to do it? Even if we send them a promo tape, a reel, anything, they just it kind of still is what it is. It's its own thing, and we have to kind of get lucky with that stuff.
Yeah,
or push it till we really just like beat someone down. They said, okay, I'll watch this video. I'll watch this. Oh, wow, this is cool. I'm really interested.
That's something I've never understood about the outside sponsor element in terms of Monster, Red Bull.
What has to benefit
them? It has to benefit them, but they sponsor all kinds of stupid stuff. Like, you know what I mean? They sponsor all kinds of wazoo sports that nobody cares about, and they'll make these high production videos about them, and they'll get they won't even get the high views or anything, and it's like, and crazy. You're just like, what? Like, you're telling me you guys won't give these dudes the light of day? It's frustrating. So I see people just get frustrated.
You gotta think about how those guys are thinking about it. They're like, why doesn't anyone look at our sport or our hobby like this?
Everyone thinks that.
Yeah,
about everything.
And then Red Bull comes in and films them jumping off cliffs.
So why are they filming them and not us? What are we doing? What are we not doing that they're doing?
I think you kind of have to somewhat not get lucky, but you gotta get lucky. You gotta find someone that knows somebody in that industry or not that industry, but that company or And that's the younger guy at the company. He's like, hey guys, I saw this. This is cool.
I know.
Why don't we help this out?
It's so by chance, basically. A lot of it.
And then there's another thing. It's like, who's doing that? Does anyone actually make an effort as a rider to do that?
Mm-hmm.
No, they expect. They want. They're entitled.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you think?
Of course.
Do you think like quad people are entitled? Is that what you mean? Like, is that
no,
like some of the racers? I guess.
I just think everything is. it's not like how do I go and buy this part. It's how do I go get sponsored to get this part cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's a crappy mindset.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go to Walmart and say, man, if I really talk to that guy that's up there at the cash register, I might get this for half off.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kills companies, and it kills. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you support the people that support the sport, or people that support anything?
If we all put our money
imagine
where our mouths were.
Imagine if I'm pulling this straight off like RC related stuff. So I race RC cars.
Yeah.
And it is the most similar thing to ATV motocross that I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
It is spot on, the same complaints, the same issues, everything. And a lot of companies are dropping sponsorship. So before, you know, you have a region and you sponsor 5 guys in each of this region, but you're just a contracted, to them it's completely different, but you're a contracted customer.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy from them at cheaper prices, and you're their free salesman. They go out and they pitch, and they say this part's the best, even though they don't. You know, it might not be the best, but why don't imagine if a big A-arm component or suspension company said, we're not sponsoring anybody, but we'll help you out. You know, if we I guess it's not really relative. I try to think about it like in a way of it's like everyone just wants stuff for free, or they want this sponsorship, and they just want to say they're sponsored. They don't really actually want to help that company that gave them stuff for almost cost and stuff. And
they just want to get their bike together. Basically.
Yeah, they want it for cheaper. You know, they want it cheaper, and they want to say
that they're sponsored.
Yeah, I mean, like Sponsor House was like the thing, you know.
Yeah.
And
I remember Sponsor House.
And you went there and you just clicked on what companies you wanted, and
you got 20% off.
You know, like that. And the company's idea is you're going to represent their product properly. You're going to run your logos, and they always have the contracts of what you're supposed to do. But are people really doing that? You know, there's tons of kids and older youth and all that stuff, and they're no helmet riding through the pits, revving their quads, doing all this crazy stuff on pit bikes and all that stuff. And think about it. If I sponsor that kid, I'm like, I don't want to sponsor you anymore. And I'm trying to think about what that came with the relative statement, but it's just like, I just wish people there's no reason for any of these companies to give anyone discount.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
No. And
that giving that discount ends up putting these companies out of business in the long run. So I've seen so many different good people just downhill, and they end up doing a reverse this mortgage or whatever, stuff to pay their bills. And I just wish people if we all just took it as stop the blame game, stop blaming the series or the track and this and that. We all just work together. We can make the sport way better, way bigger, way more fun for zero to no cost.
Yeah. Just if everybody starts truly dedicating their time and putting their money into actually helping the sport instead of just into their own teams, essentially. Kind of almost paying taxes. Instead of taking that sponsorship discount, you pay it forward and then advertise for the company just to do it. Is that kind of what you're saying, or?
Somewhat. I just think that we'll go back to you're oh, everyone wants an entitled. Yeah, a lot of, and it's motorsports in general. Yeah. Everybody wants to say they're sponsored. Everyone wants stuff for half off, and I get it. I mean, I think about the same thing too. As saying, I'm like, why should I pay full price for this? You know, why not? You don't go, like you said, you don't go to Walmart and talk the teller into
and get him to you don't haggle with him. You know what I mean?
I guess now that I think about it, that would be okay if we paid for stuff full cost. Maybe that company could sponsor something fun at the race. Maybe they had money to say, I'll pay an extra $2,000 towards diesel fuel to make a pit bike track up here, and then I'll have my mechanic will do a 2-hour ride. And that $2,000, we'll pay him $100 to sit there and say, okay, you have a helmet, okay, you got boots, okay, you can go ride, you know? Yeah. I don't know, I just feel like we could do a lot more things. I just feel like everyone sits around and just wants, but they're just hand it to me.
they're bringing up problems and not having any solutions, which is in
you can't
itself
sit there and
which
complain
is in
about
itself
something.
a problem. If you're not gonna have any sort of method to change it, then you're just complaining.
Yeah.
It's different if I say, hey, I think we can do this because we have this problem and I think here's the solution. If you say that, you sound right. If you're just like saying, I think that we have low numbers, and then you just sit there, it's like, well, you're just an asshole. Like, we all know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we get it. Like,
and what like who knows numbers? Like who's out here like they're taking a drone up and taking a screenshot and counting every rig and every it's and it might be low one round and it might be high one round. It's the region too, the region you're in. Like, how many people race around here? I don't know. Can you tell me? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
You know, and they can't sit there as a promoter, as a racer, anyone complain about something if we're not having a solution for it. Just like you said.
So how do you feel about the dirt bike hate? Do you think it affects us a lot?
I think if you embrace the hate, like Nick the Quads, as soon as something becomes less cool, like I always say hashtag Nick the Quads on stuff. Because what the guys that are posting stuff that hashtag Nick the Quads, they click on it and they look and it's all quads. Oh, this is stupid. This is gay, you know? Like, if we embrace that stuff,
it right back in their face.
If you just waste less time with someone like that, like, I do it all the time. I'm guilty. Someone says some crap on Facebook, anything, any social media platform. And I type it up, and I tell them, okay, now I'm sound a little better here. Try to make a logical comparison or something, and I'm like, delete. Because then I gotta come back and I gotta argue with this guy that just, he doesn't want to hear what I have to say anyway. So, you know, like I actually they're talking about it, like there's a Nuke the Quad page or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I've heard it from here.
Nice.
So screw those guys. Most of those guys are not. I mean, do you think the 250 Pro or 450 Pro Arena Cross, Supercross, any of those guys are wasting their time on this page? No. It's the guy riding a TTR 125. No offense, TTR 125 riders.
No offense to you.
Yeah, no offense to you guys.
No offense to you. Not no offense. Get a better bike.
Yeah. But it's the guys that aren't, you know, they're not a really avid racer. They're the guy that shows up in a lifted truck with their Nokia Sidekick.
Monster Energy or Monster Energy sticker, like all that.
They are the ultimate old school term poser, you know.
Yeah.
And these guys live for like arguing online. Like, just that guy, don't even talk to him. Don't waste your time with that. Like, the time I always like joke around. It's like the time you waste with like social media and like all the little things that you like comment on. Like, you could learn another language.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how I was like saying.
You
like,
could put this
I can know
something
Spanish,
productive.
French, German. Like, I can know all that. All the time I've spent like thinking about arguing with someone or even wasting my time arguing with someone. It's just like, I don't know. We just don't need it. If everyone just like took that into like some kind of, what I'm saying is like, it got in their brain like, maybe we don't need to sit there and bitch about these dirt bike guys. Like, the guys that are saying negative crap and you ruin the ruts, they didn't need a rut because they couldn't use a rut. They don't know how to use a rut. And, you know, they want one blown out turn with a high rut, and that's what they're complaining about. Yeah, it's easier to ride a dirt bike with one rut.
Exactly.
Well, you put 10 ruts, those guys don't know how to ride those ruts.
No.
So, I don't know. What I'm saying is, if guys want to talk crap, Instagram, all that crap, click on their profile, see what they're riding, old clapped out CR125. I always say 125, 125. And the guy's riding at a local place. Don't waste your time with people like that. That's not worth it.
I agree. I think that's the best solution. So, how'd you get into RC cars?
I mean, RC cars. Everyone had an RC car. Have you had an RC car?
No. Well, I mean, like not like a
but
nice
you had one.
Yeah,
right?
like
everyone had an RC car.
Yeah.
A little Tyco.
Some little truck bullshit thing. Yeah.
Was it Toys R Us?
Yeah,
everyone,
something.
you know,
Radio Shack, something.
I always had them when I was little, and me and my dad drive out in the street. I lived in a suburb, so we had like a cul-de-sac, whatever. And I always just had RC cars, and then I'm trying to think now. One day I was like, I really want to get like something to bash. So you just drive around, hit jumps in your backyard, all this crap. I bought a Tractor Slash 4-wheel drive car, got into it, decided, hey, I want to take it to a track because it's not as fun just jumping stuff in my backyard or whatever. And take track, and I'm like, wow, this is a completely different structure. It's just like what I used to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's times and there's this, and it's the way it's built out is super similar to motocross.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know that's something that.
So
I
that
think
was my
super cool,
motocross, and I moved to Morgantown, West Virginia for 6 years, and I had all these cars. I couldn't find a track, and it was hard to find tracks. And I found tracks and made friends, and I met all these cool people and all these different styles of racing. I moved back to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I met all these people I've known or should have knew like my whole life. Like
Yeah.
I know a guy right now that races J-Day series.
Mm-hmm.
And he freaking shreds. Like J-Day's a cross between motocross, GNCC. It's timed like 2-moto format. He's a bike rider. But all these quad, bike, motocross, motorsports related people race RC cars because it's a cheaper addiction, just like motorsports in general is. It's fun, and you're still getting like, and it's crazy. Like getting on a driver's stand before a race is the same feeling I've had on a motocross gate.
Yeah.
So you're ready to go, and you're just nervous. You don't know why you're nervous, but it's same thing with an RC car. And people are like, "Oh, that sounds dumb." And then I like took my buddies to it, and they're like, "Yeah, this is fun."
Yeah,
like,
see, I have a couple friends who do it, and I've like wanted to get a car. I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to at least like try it, you know.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to racing a quad or racing a dirt bike.
With no bodily injury.
Yeah, and you go and you hang out with your friends, and you guys order food and hang out at the races, and then you have your qualifying races and your main event. And it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun time without spending the
$1,000
large amount of money that you spend with full-size motorsports.
Yes, which is a lot.
Yeah,
as my bank account can tell you. Nice, man. So
but if you look at it as fun and a hobby,
it's worth the money to me.
Think about all the things you've done with that, with the friendships that you've made.
Oh man, the things that I've done through racing,
and all the things you could have done
but
like the bad paths you could have went down.
Yeah, it kept me completely out of trouble.
I know so many people that obviously there's many guys that got into drugs off of getting hurt on a quad or a dirt bike. But there's many paths that I've seen that the people take that got them out of something like that because they found this new addiction, which was motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, I would be the person I am today for sure without racing, and it teaches you so many things, like because you have to learn how to work on things. It's not just an individual component. It's like the only sport where you also have to have some sort of mechanical mindset and sort of engineering mindset to like make something better. You have to also make something good and know how to ride it good in the same time. So that's what makes racing unique.
Yeah, and it's this weird addiction. It's like you don't want to go out and suck. Like no one does anything to suck at it. You want to have fun, but you don't want to suck at it. So you get addicted at getting better. So you start training and you start riding and you start buying the aftermarket parts because you want to get better, make your machine better, and it's this great addiction. Yeah, it's expensive, but in the long run, like a lot of people come out of it with these great stories for the rest of their lives and.
Yeah, I don't care how much, like, no matter how much debt I was in from doing it, like, from back when I was younger till now, it's every dollar it's spent to me has been worth it. So.
And it's great. Like, I can tell you stories from years back, and I can know every character was in each story and every gate drop and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's great stories, and it's,
man.
It's great.
I'm a quad history nerd, too. Like, sometimes when people are, like, I'll ask them about something like, no, I don't know who this guy is, and to me, I'm just like, how do you not know about this? You know, that's how I get. Like, this
all
is
the
dumb.
time. I name names, and someone's like, if you don't know that guy, you shouldn't even be riding.
Yeah, you should get off the quad.
Yeah,
dude.
you're gonna have to go buy a dirt bike and post nuke the quads on all your Facebook and Instagram posts.
Exactly, man. So, all right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up on this, man. We've done about an hour, so I think that's about it. You got anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to? Any closing remarks?
Support Rip It Up Films. Like, comment, share.
Buy hats.
Buy hats. Buy hats. I know one of my big talking points was like, I think as a community of ATV racers in general,
you should buy his hats.
Obviously, but I see like a lot of crappy bashing, like GNCC versus ATVMX. Not so much like TT or the other forms of ATV racing. We all ride quads. We all ride ATVs. Whatever you want to name it, call it. Like, support it. Like, stop the petty social media crap. Like, let's all support each other. And then there's so many people I know that are just like, like cross-train, cross-friends, so GNCC guys and know all the ATV motocross guys, and the people that are like going out of their way to like say like GNCC is harder, ATV motocross is harder. Like, stop wasting your time with the social media crap. Like, just enjoy and embrace the sport you're in. Like, I think that in general, like ATV racing as a whole needs to just support everything and anything and each other, and like
at
just build it up. Like, why can't we? Like, we can't sit here and complain and post. You know, get on their. I always say post because I actually use computers. Everyone uses these things called phones now, and everyone complains and bitches and moans, and it's just like, stop wasting your time with that. Think about every time you want to complain about something, like, how can I make what I'm going to complain about better? Yeah, there's times to complain. Why don't you keep it to yourself? You don't have to post.
If you don't have a solution, don't bring it up.
Yeah, like, you know,
that's
like,
how,
and
that's
there's
what
a
I
lot
say.
of crappy things that go down in different ways in anything, and just keep it to yourself, or find a solution.
Exactly.
Go to the right person to tell the problem, and
start working towards a solution if you're gonna be that loudmouth about it. But all right, well, thanks. We're here at South at the Border, rocking it, pro-ams tomorrow. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate it. Hey, wait, hold on. Damn it. I don't have a marker in here. Pretend to sign the table and you can do it later. Sweet. Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. Nice. Nice, man. That was good.
If it wasn't later, I could talk for